You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
Come on, let's turkey try. Let's get it while it's hot.
You're listening to the Thanksgiving episode of the Dolphins Talk Daily Podcast with Mike Oliva and Ian Berger.
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you tonight? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Wednesday evening, November the 23rd. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And we are here to talk about your first place Miami Dolphins. I am your host, Mike Oliva, as the intro said, joined by Big Ian Berger, who's loving that intro, which we only play once a year. Ian, how you doing tonight?
Mike, I'm great, and I look forward to that intro. I remember right before we started, you said, I've got a special intro for the Thanksgiving. I was like, it's like the turkey one.
The turkey one once a year. So here's the deal, folks.
Get that nice announcement, from Ian Berger with Mike Oliva.
Josh Katzker, the voiceover guy.
Josh, he's awesome.
He's the best. So here's the deal. My internet tonight is very spotty. If I go out here at some point, Ian's going to run the show for a bit until I can get back on. Just giving everybody a heads up front. And before we talk about all the latest Miami Dolphins news, as always, be sure to check out the website finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, the largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, please be sure, if you're on Facebook, to join our friend Carlos Hernandez in the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook group. Carlos is outstanding. He does a great job there, and that is a part of the Facebook group you want to be a part of. Also, if you're watching the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, thank you. And if you're not, and you're listening to this in the traditional podcast form,
she's like hiding as if we can't see her.
I just met her 2 weeks ago in person, too. I just met her 2 weeks ago
in person. He met you a few weeks ago. It was very pleasant meeting you.
Very pleasant. Nice conversation we had. As I was saying about, if you're not on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, be sure to go to head to the YouTube channel, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that alert bell so when we go live like we are tonight, you can interact with us. And also, please be sure you are following us on Instagram. I'm putting up a lot more stuff on Instagram. I might even do a contest that ties into Instagram here in the next few days or weeks. We'll see. So follow us on Instagram at Dolphins Talk. Now, Ian, this is our Thanksgiving show. And we're going to do a lot of Thanksgiving things we're thankful for, some Thanksgiving memories. But first, we got to get to the news of the Miami Dolphins, as there's a bunch of news.
Awesome.
So, first and foremost, the Miami Dolphins today signed defensive tackle Justin Zimmer off the Buffalo Bills practice squad. So he is now on the 53-man roster for the Miami Dolphins. They added another run stuffer there at the defensive tackle position. They've also signed defensive tackle R.J. McIntosh to their practice squad, who will replace Ben Still, who was signed by the Cleveland Browns. So Cleveland took someone off our practice squad. We signed R.J. McIntosh to put on our practice squad. Then we signed Justin Zimmer off the Bills practice squad to put on the active roster. You following along?
I got
Easy.
It all. And they're all going to be starting this weekend, right? They're all going to be starting the game this weekend, right?
Justin Zimmer, he's the only one. Not starting, but he could be active. And not to be outdone, the Miami Dolphins, because they lost Emmanuel Ogbah, re-signed. He was with Miami last year. Brendan Scarlett, the outside linebacker, and he's on the practice squad as well. Brendan Scarlett last year played in 13 games. He started known as a little bit of a pass rusher. They got to replace Ogbah somehow. So Brendan Scarlett is now on the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of moving parts there. They've made some moves. The other big news of this week, and we've gone down this road for many years, and we'll see how this one ends. Zach Thomas is a semi-finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think we all, as I've said numerous times, he's getting in. It's just a matter of when. So right now he is a semi-finalist. I am almost sure he will become a finalist here in the next few months. And then we wait to Super Bowl weekend, and we find out if Zach Thomas will get in the Hall of Fame. I just did a podcast literally an hour ago with Mike Westhoff, who is very much responsible for Zach being a Miami Dolphin. He was heavily involved in that process when Miami selected him, and he emphatically said Zach Thomas needs to be in the Hall of Fame, which we all agree. Ian, would you like to add anything to that?
I will tell you, during the time when Zach was playing, it was obviously the same time Jason Taylor was playing, and those two were the heart of the defense. And you had Patrick Surtain and you had a bunch of other guys that were in the backfield as well. But I will never forget I think it was a Monday night football game, and the announcer was talking about how dominant Zach Thomas was, and then the exact next play after that, Zach intercepts the ball and runs it in for a touchdown. It was as if, someone was saying this is going to be his Hall of Fame highlight reel, when you got somebody who's giving you such kudos and such accolades, and then all of a sudden you respond in the game. And the thing is that he was a tank, as Zachary mentioned a few moments ago. He was a thumper. He and the one thing that I've said all along, he's one of those guys, and everyone said he wasn't going to be successful in the National Football League. He didn't meet the size mold. He didn't meet the criteria that it should be for the typical linebacker around that time. And he proved everybody wrong, so I think what a lot of people say now is he is a Hall of Famer. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He just needs to get the gold jacket at this point. The same can be also said for Richmond Webb. And I know he did not make the final, but the guy is worthy. There wouldn't have been as much success from Dan Marino if Richmond Webb wasn't sitting there protecting the guy the whole time,
Yep. And I also spoke about that with Mike. Mike, he actually brought it up. He goes, I don't know how Richmond Webb is so overlooked. It's not even funny. He is so overlooked. The guy, as the case I always use, and with the Hall of Fame, you do have to compare players. And Tony Baselli got last year. Tony Baselli, not knocking Tony Baselli, but yeah, I am a little. Played half the amount of games as Webb, and he missed a lot more. Richmond Webb played like 181 games, and I think he started 180 of them. He never missed a game. And he went up against Bruce Smith, not just twice, some years 3 times in a year. And Bruce Smith can't talk any more highly of him. And that's Bruce Smith, who's a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the top 5 pass rushers in the history of the sport. He can't talk highly enough about him. What more do you need? And here's the thing. Zach, we know for sure, is getting in. I wish I could say, and I love Richmond. I just saw him 2 weeks ago at the tailgate. I wish I could say here, Richmond Webb will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I just know how that process works. And I don't know if it's going to happen. Now, he should be. I wouldn't pound the table. I'd flip the table if I had a voice. That's how strongly I feel. I just know how this process works, and I don't think it's going to happen. But our fingers are crossed. They really are, because I love the guy. He is first off, he's so nice as a person. But he was a fantastic left tackle in the NFL. And we'll see. We'll see.
And real quick, Mike, too, on this on the intro, it showed video highlights of a very important Thanksgiving Day game.
To it. I got it on the agenda.
All right, cool. I want to talk about that because I think
we're going to get to it.
Yes, I'd love to talk about that.
So, next thing, Thanksgiving morning, which we are recording this Wednesday night. Thursday morning, if you're up and about having your coffee and you've already listened to us and you already listened to my podcast with Mike Westhoff, you're like, what should I listen? It's going to be hours till we have the turkey. Sirius XM NFL Radio at 8 a.m. Eastern Time has an hour special on the 1972 Miami Dolphins, Larry Zonka, Paul Warfield, and it's hosted by Alex Marvez. So everyone, put a little reminder in your phone, 8 a.m. Thanksgiving morning, Sirius XM NFL Radio, for those of you who have that. They're doing a special 1-hour show on the 1972 Dolphins that you're going to want to listen to. So check that out there. 2 more tidbits. The Dolphins game against San Francisco was not flexed in the prime time. I know a lot of fans are hoping for that. So it stays at 4:05 on Fox, that game. I thought there was a chance, but the Cowboys are such a big TV draw. They're such a big TV draw.
And I think they're preparing for that Bills game, because if the Bills game doesn't get flexed, then
that game's getting moved.
Yeah,
that game's getting moved either Saturday night or Sunday night. I think it's going to be Sunday night because that's just too big of a game for NBC to pass up. Yep. And I think the NFL can put anything on a Saturday night and it'll draw a rating. Honestly, it'll probably be the Ravens-Browns because you got Watson versus Lamar Jackson. So I could see that being the Saturday night game. But I think the Miami game is going to be Sunday night because that is the biggest game of the weekend. We'll probably know about that in 2 weeks. But this game had a good chance of being moved. The problem is the Cowboys, like the Yankees, like Notre Dame, are just such a big national draw. It doesn't matter. They could be playing you, me, and like 8 other people from our site. It would still be on primetime and NBC because they're going to get the biggest rating. So that, and also one little tidbit I want to mention here. Bradley Chubb is quickly becoming my new favorite player for the Dolphins.
Nice.
As he went on Instagram this week, and he is now pounding the table for the Dolphins to go back to throwback uniform. The man has been here less than a month, and he's already wanting throwback uniforms full time. Bradley Chubb, we speak your name. You are winning me over very quickly. Pay the man $200 million.
All he's got to do is look at some of the social media posts from the Dolphins.
And I will say
fans,
today too that at the media session today, Tua Tagovailoa wearing old school Dolphins throwback T-shirt. I think the players are falling in love with this, and I know the fans have been loud about it. But when the players get loud, sometimes the team listens to the players more than us. Yeah. Let's talk Thanksgiving memories. There's 2 in particular. The first one is a 93 game with Leon Lett. I will let you talk about that. I just want to let everyone know the show I just did with Mike Westhoff, he was actually part of the game. He was there. He was a Miami Dolphins special teams coordinator. I asked him about that game. He shared his thoughts. He told me how the Dolphins, quote unquote, cheated a little bit at the end to make sure they made the last field goal. You're going to want to listen to that podcast. Some new things were unearthed that might not have been widely known of the end of that game from Miami's perspective. So check out my podcast with Mike Westhoff as he talks about that game, his memories, and talks about what the Dolphins did to ensure they made that last field goal. Ian, what are your thoughts and memories from that game?
So it's so funny and interesting because, there are certain games that are just kind of burned into your memory. And that Thanksgiving game was one that I remember so well. And I was with my mom and my dad, and my dad's watching. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. And we were at one of their friends' house, and you're thinking almost 20 years ago, not everybody had a 50-inch television at the time, right? So we were watching it on like a 25-inch, tabletop.
20, it's almost 30 years ago, I think.
30 years, right? Sorry. So
that's oh my God, I feel old.
it's a small TV on a tabletop. Yep. We're all sitting there huddled around it. And we were kind of at the dinner table and kind of looking around at it because everybody knew how important the Dolphins were. And I just remember everybody going nuts when they started saying, you saw what was happening and it was blocked. And you had this like emotional roller coaster of, oh my God, I can't believe it was Stoya, right? Pete Stoyanovich missed. He missed that. He got it blocked. And then you just continue to watch in awe. And then you see Leon Lett, come in, jump on the ball. And then the Dolphins get it. And I'm just thinking to myself, what just happened? And then when they start announcing it on the television, everybody in our room was just jumping up and down. Like we couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable that we were going to win this game nationally televised with white, it was covered with white snow on the bottom of the ground. Right. And I remember the headlines of the next morning. I think it was the Sun Sentinel that said, Leon, let it go is what the headlines were in the sports page the following day. But I remember that one extremely well because it was such a great moment. Now, of course, if I remember right, Dolphins didn't win a game after.
They lost every game after that. Yeah, I spoke about
but still,
that.
It was a memorable game, and it was it was fun.
As I've said before in this podcast, there are certain games that you will take to your grave that will be 80, 90 years old, hopefully, God willing, that you will remember. The Miami Miracle is one of those games. That Thanksgiving Day game is one of those games. And this is why you have to listen to my interview with Mike Westhoff when he speaks about this game. That here's what he shared that I don't think a lot of fans know. Prior to the game, they arrive. There's snow. The city of Dallas isn't used to snow. They're not prepared for snow to be removed. They don't know what to do with snow. The city of Dallas paid homeless people to get the snow off the field because they didn't have a truck with a brush to push it off. They didn't have the equipment. They didn't have the manpower. So they went out and just paid homeless people off the street to come to the stadium and start moving the snow night before that morning. Also, they had a tarp. The tarp, which was never used really, is in the corner all balled up. Well, it froze. So they're slicing the tarp with a knife, trying just to be able to use it. Couldn't. So, and there's some more. That's why listen to the Mike Westhoff interview. I don't want to share everything because he has the skinny of everything from that game, the ending, like I said, what Miami did to make sure that Pete had some clear spot to kick the field goal. A little bit of chicanery went on. or sportsmanship, as we like to call it. Although if it was the Patriots, it's cheating. When we do it, it's just good gamesmanship. So listen to that interview because Mike goes in depth about it, and it's a great thing. Also, Ian, this is the 45th anniversary of Miami's Thanksgiving win over the St. Louis Cardinals, 55-14, on November 24th, which will be tomorrow when most people are listening, over the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, here's why this game is important on many levels. Number one, it's only one of two games since 1970 that was hosted by a team other than the Cowboys or Lions. And why? Because the Cowboys in the mid-60s, 65, 66, whatever it was, they were just like, we want to play on Thanksgiving. We want that to be our day. And they did for many years. Pete Rozelle finally goes, hold on, timeout. You guys just anointed yourself this game. We're not going to let you do it every year. So in 75 and in 77, Pete took it away from them. But then afterwards, come 78, he goes, okay, you can just have the day. So in 77, there was no Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. Dolphins played the St. Louis Cardinals. They scored 55 points, the most points ever scored by a team on Thanksgiving ever. Still stands to this day. Bob Greasy, it's the first game he ever wore his famous eyeglasses / whatever you want to call them. That's the first game he ever wore. It was on that day. He threw for 6 touchdown passes, only completed 15 passes on the day. Think about that. He only completed 15 passes, 6 and 1 for touchdowns.
Half of them, less than half of them, just a little
Nat
less than
Moore.
half of them. That's amazing.
Nat Morse caught 3 touchdowns on that day. And with 6 touchdown passes, huge offensive day. The funny part is the Dolphins actually rushed for more yards than they passed. They almost ran for 300 yards, and they passed for like 200. So, yeah, that's the 45th anniversary. Will be tomorrow, November 24th, of that, not historic game, but it's literally the last game up until 2012 or 2006, I should say, when they added the third game. And now that's just rotated. And here's the other little tidbit fans don't know. Pete Rozelle, for many, many years, wanted to add a third game on Thanksgiving. And he wanted to be at night in Miami every year. Pete Rozelle
would have been wonderful.
Pounded the table. Exactly. Joe Robbie wanted it. The problem was this. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Hunt family wanted the game as well. So when Pete Rozelle had this idea, he went to Joe Robbie, led a third game. Lions, Cowboys, and every night, every year, Miami, primetime, have an AFC team in primetime.
You got 2 NFC teams during the day.
Exactly. And that was his goal. And it probably would have happened, but the Chiefs put up a stink. And, the Hunt family there had a lot of power back then. And they put a stop to it. And there was never a third game added until you fast forward to Pete Rozelle's dead, 2006, and it was just a rotating game. So that almost happened, though. Miami almost had a third, or was the third game on Thanksgiving each and every year.
That would have been great, but can you imagine what
great.
so living in South Florida and being being a season ticket holder, that would have had to change all of our plans. Like Thanksgiving dinner would end up either being the weekend before or Thanksgiving lunch or Thanksgiving tailgate, right? That probably would have ended up being what it was.
That wouldn't have gone over well with some families. Exactly. And then you also wouldn't have had the Leon Lett moment either, probably. But either way, that's something that almost happened. Little NFL lore there. Pete Rozelle was a visionary, way ahead of his time, and he wanted that third game. It didn't happen until 2006, but Miami was involved with that. Now, before we move forward, we have to talk about one of our sponsors of today's show. No, not that sponsor. We're talking about BetUS. Because, Ian, gambling season, this is like this week with the World Cup. You got 3 football games on Saturday. At night, you got the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State versus Ole Miss. Friday, you got college games all day. You got USA versus London World Cup, for those of you that are into that. God bless you. And then Saturday, more college games. Sunday, you got an NFL slate. And then Monday, you got the Monday night game. This is gambling cornucopia, as they say. So everyone go to BetUS, and obviously bet responsibly, people. Don't go losing to turkey, as they say. Everyone go to BetUS, use a promo code DolphinsTalk. You get 125% sign-up bonus. 125%. They'll match your deposit and give you 125% more. BetUS.com. And as I said, I know a lot of people bet with FanDuel and DraftKings and Caesars, and that's great. But take advantage of the 125% sign-up bonus. Take the free money at least once and make one bet on BetUS.com. So everyone go to BetUS, use a promo code DolphinsTalk. And since Tom and myself usually do our picks on Friday, we got 3 games I'm going to give my 3 picks here real quick. Here we go. The Lions plus 9.5 over the Bills. I think the Bills win, but I think the Lions keep it close and cover. I also like the over in this game. There's going to be a ton of points. So take the Lions plus 9.5, the over. Take the Cowboys minus 9.5 and the under, because the Giants can't score. All their wide receivers are hurt. The Giants are struggling to put up points. There's like 5
people that are not playing, I saw, on their offense.
The Giants are hurting right now. And the Cowboys, what we saw last week, I think the Cowboys, here's the deal. The Cowboys and San Francisco, in my opinion, are the best 2 teams in the NFC right now. And I think the Cowboys against the Giants can't move the ball. I think the Cowboys will score their 28, 29, 35 points. I don't think the Giants are going to score it all. So take the Cowboys, lay 9.5, and then take the under there. And then the night game, I'd probably avoid Minnesota minus 2.5, minus 3, all depending where you look.
Go Vikings.
I would probably take the Vikings because I don't think they're going to look bad 2 weeks in a row. But that's obviously not a game I like, though. But if I had to pick one, take the Vikings, lay the points. But I love the Cowboys, love the under, love the Lions plus 9.5, and I love the over. So betus.com, promo code Dolphins Talk, the 125% sign-up bonus. Bet MMA, bet the soccer, bet NBA, NHL, whatever you want. Free money to bet. Okay, Ian.
I sounded kind of smart with all this stuff with the teams, and I just wanted to bring up. I know you weren't going to mention this, but we have this little fantasy football league thing going on.
You kicked my ass this week, I know.
And I did. I kind of kicked your butt like 190 to like 140. Yeah. So I've been doing good so far with that. But you're still I think number 1 in the league right now.
That was only my second loss all year. I know. Kirk Cousins killed me this week. He's probably killed every Viking offensive player killed every team. Kirk Cousins. Well, that was a rough one for the Vikings.
You got 2 points for you, Mike. 2 points.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, they did nothing. So
yeah.
But yes, that was only my second loss. But yeah, you whipped me good. Okay, we have to do what we're thankful every year. Thanksgiving, we share what we are thankful for, and it's that time to share what we're thankful for. And I'm going to go first. I am thankful that Tua Tagovailoa has turned into a top 10 quarterback and is having an amazing season this year in 2022. And he's silenced all of his critics and doubters. So I am very thankful for Tua. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, I always start with this one. I am thankful for my family, my wife, my 2 daughters, my mom, my dad, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister, brother-in-law. Everybody's still here. Everybody's still healthy. We're going to see everybody tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for that.
Yes. I am also thankful that the MILF hunter, Zach Wilson, is the quarterback for the New York Jets because he stinks on toast. And the fact that he was benched today was music to my ears. So I am very thankful that the Jets screwed this up and took Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. Dante Collinelli, I love you, but I told you Zach Wilson would be a disaster in New York, and I have been proven right. Zach, I'm very thankful for that. Ian, would you like to go next?
Yes, I am thankful for Mike McDaniel. We as a Miami Dolphins fan base have not seen the success that we are seeing right now. We have not seen a coach that gets such responses, positive responses from his other coaches and from his players. And I think we're in a great spot, not just now, but for the foreseeable future. And it's all because of this kid that everybody said looked like a dork, but he's a football genius. And comes to Miami and starts putting things in motion. And he has truly been the best head coach for the Miami Dolphins, I think, since I'm going to go back and say since Don Shula. And I know there have been some other really good coaches, but I think he's doing some great things.
Very nice. I am very thankful that Tom Brady left the Patriots, and now we get to watch Bill Belichick struggle each and every stinking week with crummy quarterbacks and not be able to score touchdowns. Thanks, Tom. Sorry about your divorce, but I'm glad you left the Patriots. We get to watch the old man struggle on the sidelines.
Good. I get the good. I get the real good ones, right? So
yeah.
I'm actually going to thank all of the Tua and Miami Dolphins haters, and the reason for that. If it wasn't for them, I don't think we would, as a Dolphins fan base, be so even more excited about what our team is doing and about what Tua is doing if we hadn't experienced all the doubters before. So I am thankful for all of you. And especially, I love the fact that they're changing their tune, but there's an account out there that remembers kind of everything that was that was written in the past, because when you put it on the internet, it stays there forever. So, but I'm thankful to them.
I am thankful that the city of Buffalo got over 6 feet of snow. Don't want to see nobody get hurt, because when snow melts, it turns into water. And that entire city and fan base needs a good cleaning and rinse. So I'm grateful and very thankful for that snow. So the city of Buffalo can get cleaned up when that snow melts and turns into water.
I am thankful for Tyreek Hill. I am thankful because he had a choice to make when he was leaving the Kansas City Chiefs. He said, I can go to the New York Jets where they have this top tier quarterback in Zach Wilson, or I can go to the Miami Dolphins where they have the most accurate quarterback in the National Football League, per his words, not mine. That's his words. And he chose the Miami Dolphins, and we are seeing the benefits from that.
I am thankful for the Weather Channel. Why, you ask? For their continuing education of the Bills Mafia, teaching them that no single NFL team has control over the sun. So very thankful to everyone at the Weather Channel for teaching the Bills Mafia that the Miami Dolphins don't control the sun, and sometimes it gets hot in Miami, so you might want to prepare. Thank you, Weather Channel. I'm very thankful for your work this year.
I don't know how I topped that one, but Mike,
I don't know.
I'm going to thank you, my friend. I'm going to thank you and the Dolphins Talk team, because without you guys, I would not have this opportunity to talk about something I am so extremely passionate about. And I know we are on year 3 together, and we're having just a lot of fun, especially this year. We've been waiting a long time for this. So thank you, Mike, and thank Tom, and thank Josh, and thank Aaron, and thank
Ryan Van
Dante, Ryan, everybody. Absolutely. Thank you all.
Dern, and all of our contributors. I can't even begin to name all because I will forget some, I know. But yes, it's been a lot of fun. And yes, before I get to my last one, which is kind of funny, I just do want to thank everyone who supports us all year, who watches these shows, listens to these shows, I should say. We have a huge audience of listenerships. I always say this is a podcast first and foremost. We just do it on YouTube just to turn on the cameras, because why not? It's free. But we have a huge audience that continues to grow in the traditional podcast form, which we'd love to thank. All of our sponsors, BetUS, Manscaped, Vicharo Watches, True Classic, who support us and keep the show alive with a little bit of money to help pay the bills around here. And just thank you for everyone who watches, listens, and interacts with us all throughout the year. And the last thing I'm thankful for, Ian, is I'm thankful that the Dolphins are 7-3. They're about to go 8-3, and that they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and that we're going to be playing meaningful football games through December into January as we kick some ass in the AFC.
Word from our sponsor, because my dad texted me just a moment ago.
It's next on my agenda.
Okay. Tell Dad, all right, we'll talk about it. But he said he's thankful for being introduced to Manscaped. He said he's thankful for being it. But so my last one is, as you mentioned, the audience, but also thank you to the Miami Dolphins community through all social media sites, because they without those platforms, I wouldn't have met so many. I would never have met you, Mike. I would have never have met really most of the people that I interact with online, or we talk through, they're chatting. And it's just, it's the coolest experience when people come by at a tailgate and say, I listened to you, I've seen you, I've interacted with you. I'm from Texas, like Rufus. My friend Rufus is from Texas, and I know he's listening right now. He came by, he said hello, and I'm like, oh my God, we've been chatting for 3 years, man. It's nice to finally meet you, and those types of things. It's just, that is such a cool experience, and I hope everybody feels that way too. But we've got a great community.
No, it's so true, because when I was at that tailgate, it really was eye-opening in that people I don't know, they see me and they're like, "Oh, it's you! What's up?" Shake my hand. I saw Allie for the first time. She looks at me. She goes, "Oh my gosh, shut the front door! It's you!" And I'm like, "Oh, Allie, what's going on?" And and then there was a guy from the UK who we sold the tickets to. He was super, super nice. And then some people just come up to me and just like pick up a conversation, like where we left off on like a Wednesday. They just pick up the conversation like, okay, so I know on Wednesday you said, it's like, hi, I'm Mike. I don't know you. It's like they just pick up the conversation. It's so cool. And yes, that was a lot of fun to be able to actually fly down this year, not once but twice. See you, see Aaron, have a nice meal, hang out, and then go to the tailgate and watch two wins. That always helps when the team wins. But yes, so and I got to meet your wife and have a nice conversation with her as well.
Yes, sir.
Rufus is in the chat.
There he is. Happy Thanksgiving, Biggie. I
Hey,
owe him a cup
Rufus.
too. I owe him, Rufus. I owe you like 2 of these, I think. So I'll get it to you eventually. I promise.
Okay, so let's talk about one of our longest time, probably our longest sponsor on the show, the folks over at Manscaped. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Now, Ian, will you be telling your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer when you're sitting down for Thanksgiving carving the turkey? I don't think so.
Is that a dare? Because sometimes I could do the dares tomorrow
If you record it, I guarantee it'll go viral. Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com using the promo code DolphinsTalk. Save 20% off your order and get free shipping. Folks, here's the deal. Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs with the pouch, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Think of it as a cornucopia for your balls. You cannot forget about Manscaped's liquid formulations. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver toner spray are like pumpkin pie and ice cream after a Thanksgiving dinner. You can't live without it. Your balls will be living in a turkey heaven with these formulations. As if that wasn't enough, it's time to do the dishes with Manscaped's shower products. Lather some of Manscaped's refined body wash in their brand new signature body buffer and give yourself the lather and rinse your body deserves. Lose the loofah and exfoliate your mates. Everyone go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code DolphinsTalk. Save 20% on your order. Get free shipping. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Hit the gimmick. Your balls will thank you. And, Black Friday shopping, folks, I'm just saying, you got to, for you ladies listening out there, get one for your husband. If you're a guy, gift a brother-in-law. We understand the trimmers might not be for everyone, but all joking aside, the shampoo, top notch. The body wash, top notch. Try it out.
Top notch
body
too. I like body spray.
The cologne, they got cologne, they got chapstick. Why pay full price for any of this stuff when you can get it sent to your house for free? Well, not for, you can have it sent to your house for free. Plus, you save 20% off the price. It's like a good coupon. So everyone, go to manscaped.com. Promo code DolphinsTalk. So, Ian, we got a game this Sunday.
Oh, I love it. I can't be more excited about this.
The Houston Texans and your first place Miami Dolphins. Now, let's run through these numbers here because there is a little disparity between them. When it comes to total offense, the Houston Texans are ranked dead last, 32nd. Miami is ranked 3rd. When it comes to passing offense, Houston is ranked 22nd. Miami is ranked 2nd. Rushing offense, okay. Houston's ranked 29th. Miami's ranked 27th. But I would say there's an arrow next to Miami's number. That's going to be going up here in the next few weeks. Bank on that. And last but not least, scoring offense. Houston's ranked 20th. Miami is ranked number 6. And it was announced today, or it was leaked, I guess, that the Houston Texans have made a quarterback change. And they've gone to Kyle Allen. Is a new quarterback who will start this week for the Houston Texans. Here's the deal, folks. Mills wasn't any great, and Kyle Allen couldn't beat him out. So I don't know what you expect here from Houston on offense. I think it's going to be it might be an ugly day for the Houston offense.
I agree with you, Mike, and I think too, the only thing that worries me, and first let me be very clear, I think the Dolphins are going to beat them pretty handily. Okay. But obviously what worries me is Houston has nothing to lose, right? They're in that mindset that they're 8-1 right now, and they just want to get wins. So it would not surprise me. And I've said this, I've said this during certain games in the past. They're going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink at the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. And that could be flea flickers. That could be fake punts, fake field goals. But I hope Coach McDaniel is preparing for that. I think he's smart enough to start preparing for that. Because the other thing is too, Allen is coming in. Yeah, he's been a backup quarterback this whole season, but he's got something he's got to prove. So it would not surprise me if he just starts trying to air things out and trying to get things, down the field. And our one weakness, which I know we're going to talk about defenses here in a second, our biggest weakness has been the passing yards. And if he just starts throwing stuff and flinging it down the field, there could be opportunities there. And I think the last time the Miami Dolphins were favored by so much in a home football game was
20 years ago
against the Houston Texans.
Week one,
I think we were picked by 12 or 13 points then as well.
We lost
that game, right? So we do not take anything, we don't take, we got to take this seriously. That's first and foremost, which I think the Dolphins will. Every week for the last 4 weeks, people have been saying this is a trap game, right? Going into the Bears game, this is a trap game, right? Going into the Lions game, this is definitely a trap game. And then when we went back and played Cleveland, oh gosh, yeah, this is definitely a trap game. Well, guess what? It's not the same old Dolphins. It's not the same old Miami Dolphins anymore. And I think Coach McDaniel has made that very, very clear in his conversation, in his press conferences, and also when the players speak, you can kind of hear that from them, that this is a very seriously taken football game. So I think we're going to do very well, but still, we got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it was week one of the 2003 season. Miami had a fourth quarter lead, and they spit it up behind Jay Fiedler interceptions. And they went into – here's the thing. For those of you who were probably too young at the time, they went into 2003 as one of the top 2 or 3 favorites to win the Super Bowl. And when they lost at home week one, it wasn't the end of Wannstedt because he wasn't fired to 0-4, but it was the first nail in the coffin of the Wannstedt downward spiral because Houston was just god-awful. And to lose at home to them week one when you got Ricky Williams, who just came off a monster year the year before. Jay Fiedler was adequate, which he was. And that was bad.
And I'll never forget, too, the Houston fans used to pile up in the corner end zone, upper level. And when they were scoring, it was so loud in that corner end zone because all of the Houston fans were up there cheering. So I think it's going to be a different story this weekend, but still, it's the history of our team. You've got to know it.
Yeah. Here's the other side of the ball. Total defense. Houston ranked 31st. They ain't much better on defense. Miami ranked 21st. Passing defense. Houston 14, Miami 22. This is the big one, which we're going to talk about a lot here. Rushing defense. Houston, dead last, 32nd. Miami, 16th. And then scoring defense, Houston 18, Miami 22. Here's the deal, folks. Houston cannot stop the run to save their life. And what we've seen from Jeff Wilson, what we've seen from Raheem Mostert the past few weeks, I expect a heavy dose of those two. I know Mostert went on the injury report today. I don't know how serious it is. I think he'll play. Here's the deal, though. I expect a heavy dose of Jeff Wilson because if Miami gets a lead here and they can rest Mostert a little bit, I'm sure they will. But they are brutal against the run. They can't stop a runny nose. And I think Miami's just going to run up and down the field on them. And I know versus Cleveland, I think Miami had like 190, 195 yards of rushing. I could see another week where Miami's at 175, 180, 190 yards rushing, maybe even 200 they crack. Because I don't know how Houston, who's so bad on defense, is going to have to prepare for Hill and Waddle and everything they present. But, we got to stop the run as well. I just think when you talk about matchup nightmares, this is a matchup nightmare for Houston.
And the interesting thing is that Miami Dolphins run defense has definitely improved. Before the Cleveland game, I made it a point to talk about that, the Dolphins rushing defense looked bad because of all of the running quarterbacks, especially that Justin Fields game where he ran like crazy. And then you had, Lamar, and then you also had Josh Allen. But if it's a traditional running game where the quarterback is not running, the Dolphins have not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. So traditional running games, that is an advantage to the Miami Dolphins. And I think that's what we saw last week with Nick Chubb, that the Dolphins were able to hold him except for that 130-yard run. And I think that's going to be the same this game. You're going to stop Dameon Pierce and you're going to force Allen to throw the ball. And this is going to be his first football game with the Houston Texans. And I think the Dolphins are going to give him some crazy looks if this would be absolutely the best week to get some nice pass rush on and to get a couple of sacks to maybe get caught up on where the team is from a sack perspective. But everything is pointing in the direction of the Dolphins. You know, the offense is a ton better than the Houston Texans, and the Dolphins defense is a ton better than the Houston Texans. So it should be a fun game if you're a Miami Dolphins fan.
For the Miami Dolphins on defense, this is a week. You just had a week off. You played pretty well against the Browns on defense. This is a week to sort of get some positive momentum, get a little confidence, shut down this Houston offense, which hasn't been able to do anything all year. Maybe get a few sacks, get the pass rush going. Maybe the secondary plays a little better here with some of these younger players. Get some confidence going. Get a little positive energy because, as we know, the next 3 games are going to be pretty tough for the Dolphins. So it would be nice for the defense to get on track a little bit this week. And for the offense, here's the deal. I think Tua should be able to do whatever the hell he wants against this team. He should have a lot of open receivers. He should have a lot of options. I think they're going to be able, like I said, to run the ball with ease. I don't see a lot of problems running the ball. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is a game coming to the fourth quarter. If he stand on the sideline, Tua wearing a baseball cap, and we see a little Skylar Thompson sort of just running out the clock here in the fourth quarter. This is that type of game. I know people say you can't take teams lightly and all that stuff. Listen to – here's another little plug. Listen to the Mike Westhoff. Listen to the Mike Westhoff show I just did when I mentioned the game against Houston this week. He gives you a brutal and honest answer of what Miami should do against the Houston Texans this week. And that's one of the most legendary special teams, the most legendary special teams coach in history. And this game should not be competitive in any way, shape, or form. But we'll see. Now, you
got to do our predictions.
We have to do our predictions. But before we get to the predictions, we got to hit the graphic. So let's go to this.
It's now time for Mike's Fearless Prediction.
All right. Houston travels to Miami, 1 p.m. Eastern this week on CBS. Your announcers are Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely. Get a place kicker as a color commentator. I love it. And it's the Houston Texans. Ian, what's the best part of dating a Houston Texans fan?
What, Mike?
She won't be asking for a ring anytime soon. You know, what do the Houston Texans and a Chick-fil-A manager have in common?
They're closed on Sundays.
Neither one has to show up to work on Sundays, baby.
I got one finally, the first time ever.
You did. Now, this one I wrote before the news broke, but I'm going to write it with anyways. Folks, play along. This is supposed to be fun. Hey, did you hear about the joke Davis Mills told his receivers?
No, what was that?
It went over their heads. A lot of people say Houston is filled with dumb people. But someone from Houston recently told me that's not true. And when they said that's not true, I go, how can you say that? He goes, there are a lot of other cities in America with much dumber people, like Mississippi and Canada. So, Houston, here's the deal.
That was a long one, but you had a nice singer at the end there.
I had to set up for the hook. Here's the deal, folks. This is going to be short and sweet. One team is going to be picking number 1 in next year's April's draft. The other team's going to be fighting for a chance to go to the Super Bowl in a couple months. One team has one of the best offenses in the NFL. The other team doesn't even have a quarterback they trust, and they can't move the ball. Miami's going to put up 400-plus yards on offense. They should be able to do whatever the hell they want. And on defense, I know Miami sort of struggled a bit this year. This is the week to get on track, build up a little confidence, a little positive energy, like I said. And if the Dolphins are a Super Bowl contender, you are at home against the worst team. They've won one game. One. You take care of business at home, and you just run them off the field. This game should be over by halftime. Give me the Miami Dolphins 37, the Houston Texans 6.
Did you say 37-6, Mike?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Houston stinks.
All right. So for this one, I actually made a graphic. I got this is a very, very high budget segment that I put together. So we a lot of people talk about this being the trap game, right? Yeah, the Houston Texans are 1-8-1, worst. They're going to get the number 1 pick in the draft next year. They're starting to back up quarterback. They're worst in defense. They're worst in offense. But we have post-traumatic Miami Dolphins disorders, right? Where all we're thinking about is every single time the Dolphins have let us down in Novembers and Decembers. I like that towel. That's beautiful. And so, trap game. Is it a trap game? No, sir. It is not a trap game. You like that? This is great for cinematic purposes.
We need this every week. I know people listening don't understand what the hell's going on, but the people watching are getting a perk.
Yes. So I'm saying 42-14. And the only reason why I'm saying giving them 14 points is because I think it's going to, I think at the end, it's just going to be a lot of garbage time. I think we're going to be playing second and third stringers by the end of the game. And I think the Texans are just going to try and throw some points on the board. So I'm looking for, we're going to be 8-3. Think about that for a second.
8-3 going into December.
8-3
going into December. And literally when you're 8-3 with 6 games left, they only need to play 500 football to make the playoffs. If they played better than 500 football, they have a chance to win the division and get a home playoff game. If I would have told, and folks, for those of you in our chat on YouTube, put up your predictions and we'll get through them there as we sort of wrap up this show here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. If I would have told any fans of the Miami Dolphins back in August that we'd be 8-3, which we are going to be 8-3. Let me take this off. And we just needed to play 500 ball in the last 6 games pretty much to make the playoffs and maybe win the division. You would have signed up for that. You would have signed away your life and said, absolutely. Even the most optimistic, diehard fans, we probably even would have thought, well, that's asking a lot. But that's where we're standing this weekend. Once we take care of Houston, which we will, we're going to be 8-3 going into this home stretch. And like I said, those 3 road games coming up, you just can't lose them all. You just can't lose them all. Find a way to win 1. If you win 1, you're good. You win 2, you're golden. You win 3, start making reservations because that's how this is going to go this next 3 games with Miami. And I just think at 52-10, I hope you're right. I could see it. I mean, Houston's that bad, and Miami's offense is that good. And what's got me, and I did a podcast on Monday, which I spent a half hour or more talking about this Miami Dolphins team. They can go to the Super Bowl, and they can win it. I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying what you've looked at in the NFL the past 15, 20 years is this. It's an offensive league, and you just need to be able to put up points in bunches, be able to move the ball in bunches and score a lot of points. And that's what this Miami team is. And with the running games now starting to come into play here with Wilson and this offensive line who, here's not something I'm thankful for, something I'm praying for. Do not let Austin Jackson anywhere near this field, folks, which are staff.
Keep Snelling. He's doing a good job. Absolutely keep him in.
Keep everyone where they're at. For the simple reason, this offensive line, and I love all our players. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. I get it. But here's the long and short of just reality. When we lost pretty much 2 of the 3 Chris Greer picks on our offensive line in Austin Jackson way back in week 1, and then Liam Eichenberg, the play of the offensive line went up. Okay? The Cleveland Browns are a pretty good team. They might not win a lot of games. That's a talented roster. We ran up and down.
Myles Garrett. He's a pro bowler right there.
He did nothing in that game. Yep. Nothing. And then he spoke after the game saying, I've never seen a team prepare for me like that in my life. So, it's just Austin Jackson, first guy off the bench. God forbid you need him. I'm fine. Do not insert him into this lineup and rock the boat because, once again, nothing against these people. I've seen them for 2.5 years. It doesn't work. Eichenberg's obviously out for the season. We hope he gets better, whatever. But, Rob, as I said in the offseason, I said, I don't like that we're essentially putting back the whole band and just adding 2 new players. And one by one, we've lost a couple. And now we're down to only 1 holdover from last year. And look what happened. The offensive line starts showing up and playing good with only 1 holdover. And just don't rock this boat. Do not insert this man into the lineup. Mike McDaniel was very wishy-washy about it, so we're not going to find out till Sunday, honestly. But that would be my one prayer.
And I'll tell you, Mike, you made an extremely important point, and I think there's a lot of Dolphins fans out there right now that are concerned with the defense, rightfully so. We have had so many injuries that it is hard to overcome those injuries. But the best way to overcome injuries on the defense is be able to outscore your opponent on the offense, right? That's how you overcome that. And the Dolphins have proven that they can outscore the opposing team. Now, here's the other thing. What happens if the defense starts figuring things out and they're able to hold teams back like they did against Cleveland? Then all of a sudden now you've got a complete game and sky is the limit, right? So these next 6 weeks are the most exciting as a Miami Dolphins fan since Dan Marino was quarterbacking for our team. And I don't think there's anything.
And that was even the late Marino years. This was the earlier Marino years.
Yeah.
We all love Marino. Look at my house. I have a shrine built to him, which I have stuff hanging up that you people can't even see. I have a shrine to this man. And even his last few years weren't even that great. And it's not the fault of Jimmy. He just wasn't the same player. He had all the injuries caught up to him. You probably got to go back to the 93, 94, 95 years of Marino, that the teams with OJ and those teams with OJ, Fryer, Eric Green was on one of those teams or so. Yeah. Those are the teams that really put up the points. It's been a long time. And here's the deal. Well, cutting back to my original point. What I've seen from this offense, to me, is the closest thing we've seen since the Rams' greatest show on turf. And that greatest show on turf was just unstoppable at the time. Now, eventually, after a few years, everyone caught up and teams started doing copycat, but it took them a few years. Right now, Miami, with their offensive weapons and what they have, is a little ahead of the curve in that regard. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl like the Rams did, but I'm saying they're going to be in these games and they're going to present challenges to other teams where the other side of the ball in defense, and I've said this forever in this league, you just have to be good enough. And I know I saw you got into it. You had a chat with our friend Omar Kelly about that. And what I mean when I say just good enough is they just can't give up scoring drives on every possession. Correct. They just need to make
They need to make stops at important points in the game, which they have been able to do. Make stops at
important spots and make stops just every now and then.
Yes.
We don't expect them to be the 85 Bears, and I don't even expect them to be the 2021 Dolphins. I just need them to be a little better than what they are now, which hopefully they will. And we're going to find out here because San Francisco's a high-rolling offense. The Chargers, I'm not getting into the whole Herbert thing, but when they're healthy, it's a high-rolling offense with a talented running back, and they have great wide receivers. And then you got the Bills. We know what the Bills are.
We know about the Bills. So, and then you get the Patriots and beat Green Bay, right? Green Bay's another
even
one.
Even the Packers, who I guess Rodgers said today his thumb is broken. He's still Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. I ain't taking that one lightly. So the next 4 games really after Houston is going to be where we need that side of the ball to show us a little more. And if they can show us a little more and this offense can keep rolling, we'll see if the offense can travel in snow. I don't know. We're going to find out because it's going to be snowing in Buffalo and probably ice cold, windy, just like it was last weekend in New England for that game. We'll see about that part of it, but the defense just has to be good enough because this offense can be special. And when you're moving the ball like this, scoring like this, you could have a special season. That's why I say they can go to the Super Bowl and they can win it. Not saying they will. I'm saying it's on the table because you look at the AFC, you get into a playoff game, okay? The
Tennessee.
Titans aren't going to beat you in a shootout. Okay,
and remember, they're strong on the run, not as much on the passing side.
Well, here's the deal. The only way Tennessee beats Miami is if they're running the ball so much that our offense is on the sideline the whole game, which could happen, but I don't think it's likely. So that's number one. The Ravens, I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson. I just don't trust him in the playoff where he has to win games with his arm. So I will be more than happy to get into another shootout with him in cold, wind, or wet because I know he's going to have to make plays with his arm to win. And every year he has to, and he hasn't yet. Kansas City and the Bills, yes, we'll put them off to the side. But aside from that, who else is going to Cincinnati, mark this down. November 23rd. Cincinnati ain't making the playoffs, Ian. I'm going to read you the Bengals schedule the rest of the way.
You think the Chargers are going to beat them out?
I think the Chargers will come back because now they're healthy. Here's Cincinnati's schedule. Tell me if you want to play this schedule the rest of the way. At the Titans this week, home against the Chiefs. Then they're home against the Browns, who they already lost to. Then look at their last 4.
But they're going to have Deshaun Watson. The Browns are going to have Deshaun Watson. That's going to be a difference maker.
Yeah. Look at their last 4 games. Now, that's been of Titans, Chiefs, Browns with Watson. Last 4. At Tampa Bay, at the Patriots, home against the Bills, home against the Ravens. Cincinnati, thank you, and good night. If you make the playoffs, you earned it. I don't see you going. They're not going to win. They're going to get blown out by the Chiefs. They'll get blown out by the Bills. They are going to struggle. They just lost their running back, Joe Mixon. I'm not sure for how long. He's out. You got Tampa Bay on the road. You got the Patriots are always a pain in the neck, and then you got to put up with Lamar Jackson and Henry. That is a brutal way to end the season. Brutal.
I will be rooting for them against the Bills and against the Patriots, but you're right. It might be very hard for them to go up against those teams. That is a brutal schedule.
They are 6-4. They got to win at least 4 of those games out of the 6 or out of the 7.
10 wins doesn't guarantee you getting into the playoffs
doesn't guarantee you win.
Yep.
So, yeah, if I had to guess now, I'd say Chiefs, Chargers, Tennessee, Miami, Buffalo is 5.
You think the Patriots?
I think the Patriots could sneak in. We'll know more about the Patriots after this week.
I still don't think they're that good.
I don't either, but who else are going to take? I think the Patriots could sneak in, and there's probably going to be a surprise team that makes a run. Don't be shocked if the Colts make a run.
Jeff Saturday, that would be a story right there.
That would be. But yeah, so we'll see. I just think Cincinnati, that's a brutal schedule. But Miami's good, folks. Be thankful. And thank you for listening to this show tonight. If you're listening on Thursday, happy Thanksgiving. Be sure to check out the website, dolphinstalk.com. We have a bunch of new articles, a bunch of new podcasts, videos up. I have a video up from the guys from PTI, Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser. They're all in on the Dolphins. They are all in at this point. They are true believers. You can check that video out, and I got some others up. I got someone up, if you want the other flip side, some guy from The Ringer who says he's not buying into Tua hype, which,
fine.
Hey, look,
fine.
I'm sure he'll be popping up on a Twitter account soon. So you can check that out there as well. You can also follow Ian Berger on Twitter at Ian693. Follow myself on both Twitter and Instagram at Dolphins Talk. Like I said, I'll probably be doing a contest soon on Instagram, so you're going to want to be following us there. I don't know. I got nothing else to say. Happy Thanksgiving. Ian, what's your favorite side dish for Thanksgiving?
If I had an opportunity, it would be macaroni and cheese. I'm not a stuffing guy. I can't stand the stuff.
I love stuffing. Oh, yeah. I love it.
Also, the other thing, because my parents are still watching, and this is an honest statement, they make this, my mom makes this string bean casserole. It's to die for. Like, love it. Love it, love it, love it. We're doing something a little different this year, so they're not going to have it, but I look forward to that string bean casserole usually during Thanksgiving.
Awesome. Well, have a happy Thanksgiving. Everyone, thank you for watching and listening. My internet held up. Didn't think so about an hour ago.
I was going to say, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for Spectrum.
For my internet didn't crash. Otherwise, Ian would have been flying solo off the seat of his pants without the without our layout we have for tonight's show. That would have been interesting. So, everyone, thank you for watching and listening. And, folks, even though it's Thanksgiving, let's not forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.
Fins up, everybody. Let's go, Dolphins. Good night.